Hi everyone, I am doing a talking video for the first time in a really long time. I kind of thought maybe this would be a good chance for me to do like a New Year's update on what's been going on and stuff like that. Like not too in-depth obviously, but just like maybe a little bit. So I'm gonna start off with my eye primer thingy. In case you've been living under a rock, the Jaclyn Cosmetics, which is the Forma-owned brand of which Jaclyn was just listed as like a collaborator, like she was just licensing her name, like she didn't actually own it, which when I first found that out back in the day, I was honestly like, I was kind of shocked, but then I was like, I felt like I was like, oh, I kind of should have saw that coming. So Forma has officially closed down her brand, so it was half off at Ulta, probably still is. So I did go ahead and I bought, I'm gonna use this MCGRATH primer. I did go ahead and I bought like backups of the under eye primer. Yeah, I have like 3 now. I've been trying to focus on using silicone-based primers again because I feel like that will help my foundations go on better. Like I noticed a lot of my foundations were really emphasizing my pores, and I realized it might be because I'm like using like the wrong kinds of primers, so I'm trying to go back to using silicone primers, although my skin feels so like unhydrated. I am still messing around with this HAUS Labs little tiny baby sample. This is not the shade I would personally have gotten. It's 40. The shade that's on my loves list is actually 30. I don't know if I'm gonna get it or not. It's not like I really have money to like be throwing willy-nilly at foundations right now when I have so many perfectly good working foundations. I will say I did do a little bit of wish list catch up on December. I think my exposure is set a little too high, sorry. So for those who don't know, I am still having to clean the entire house and my cats are all still quarantined. I check them with a blacklight / woods lamp pretty much almost nightly, and at this point in time nobody's fluorescing anymore, so about half of them have already gotten their first cultures done. If those come back negative, then a second culture has to be done, and the gold standard for them to be cleared of ringworm is for them to have 2 consecutive negative cultures, which yeah, they're all currently quarantined away in a room. I can't let them out because I have to basically clean the entire house. You know, if you go on the internet and you read things, you will get a lot of conflicting sources on how far do you have to go. Like some people are like, oh no, you just have to burn the whole house down, and other people are like, well, as long as you just vacuum up all the cat hair it's fine because the spores live inside the hairs. Because like the thing about ringworm is that it doesn't grow by itself. Like it's not like if you have bed bugs or something where the bed bugs can multiply by themselves, which is terrifying. If the spores are just out in the environment, they'll just exist and stay dormant until they come across something that they can grow on. And so unfortunately the spores are very hardy, like they can live for quite a while just waiting for something. I mean, that's the whole point of fungal spores, is they evolved to be very hardy so that they could just wait for the right time. But unlike other things, they don't multiply, they just kind of exist. And generally speaking, they don't usually just float around by themselves, they usually float around attached to the hair. And so my vet is like, oh, as long as you like, you know, vacuum, lint roll, and get all the cat hair out, you should be fine. But then of course the internet is like, oh no, it's everywhere and it's in everything and you have to basically burn the whole house down. So I have no idea, but either way, even just having to lint roll and then you decontaminate and sanitize everything is still a huge hassle. Because like, for people who don't know, I really like to display my stuffed animals, so I have to lint roll and wash every single stuffed animal. It's either that or throw them away, which obviously I'm not super into the idea of doing that. I'm just gonna use my setting spray. This is basically empty. So with the silicone primer, this HAUS Labs foundation today looks way better. I am very sorry, it is so overexposed, but it looks a lot better today. Like my pores are so much less visible with the silicone primer underneath, so I definitely will continue to experiment. I feel like I've like had so many bad foundation days lately because I'm just not really putting in the time and effort to figure out how to properly match my primers, and I feel like I should take some time to go back to the basics and do that. I'm going to use my Tom Ford concealer. I totally forgot to put on under eye corrector, but we'll just have slightly visible under eyes today. I may put on like some like correcting powder or something, but we'll just go with this. So this is my Tom Ford Stick Concealer in the shade 0W0 Shell. If this just had a little bit more coverage, would be the perfect concealer. It has such an amazing formula. It just doesn't quite have the amount of coverage that I like really prefer. If I'm not wearing any makeup and I just want to look a little bit less dead, or if I have really dry skin days and I don't want to dry out my under eyes, then this is what I use. So I also really like to bring this one traveling with me as well. It has just been so slow going trying to get the whole house clean, like, because obviously it's very hard for me to do it, and especially with my fatigue problems and whatnot, it's just been even more difficult. So it's gotten to the point where I actually don't know if the house will be clean and decontaminated in time for the cats to come out, and I don't really know what I'm gonna do about that, but just have to keep plugging along. Plus I had to like throw out all the cat furniture, and I'm gonna have to slowly work on replacing it. That is going to be another huge money sink for me this year. So yeah, that's what's been really stressful. That is why my filming schedule had such terrible schedule slip, was just because of that whole ringworm thing. I mean, like, it's just been so much on my plate. Like, I have to clean, I have to bathe them, I have to pill them, like, I have to clean the house. And like, of course, on top of that, you know, I still have to make sure I go to work. I had a couple of art projects I needed to I was trying to work on, and I took on a little bit more than I usually would because I really needed the extra income, and I still wanted to also have a little bit left to buy some nice stuff for myself and my friends and family. So I had to work really hard on that. Plus, it all happened right around the time that I was in Las Vegas, which I did film my video of what I got in the goodie bag, but then I never ended up uploading it because I thought it was kind of whiny sounding. I don't know, I didn't really like how it turned out. But yeah, so it's been crazy. So a lot of my makeup has been put up. I've had to go through and like lint roll, sanitize, clean all of my makeup too. Any makeup that wasn't stored inside enclosed containers. I know exactly where the cats got the ringworm from, right? Like, it was from that one time I had a batch of foster kittens for a couple days, and it turned out they had ringworm. And then of course I had them confined to one room, but I bet what happened was that maybe one of their hairs like floated out into the air, and then it got onto Melody, and then from there, because all of my cats are super cuddly with each other, Melody gave it to everyone. So I'm pretty sure that there's probably only maybe a few places in my house that actually were contaminated, but of course I have to go through and clean the whole thing because you never know. It's not like I have a microscope and I can see where it is. So I've had to go through and clean all of my makeup items, and so because of that, anytime I clean makeup items, I move them out of the way into a clean space. So I don't have access to most of my makeup collection right now, so that's why I've been using such a weird collection of products. I even had like a lot of the makeup that I bought before this whole debacle happened, I haven't even brought up here to use to film yet because I'm still keeping them like in their packaging downstairs so that they are not going to get dirty while I'm trying to clean things. Like, it has just disrupted everything. So I'm going to use my transition palette right here. Yeah, this video is going to be so overexposed. I'm sorry. I'm just going to use the really light shade up in the top left corner, and I'm going to use that to add some extra coverage to under my eyes. Yeah, you can see it made a very slight difference. And I've noticed sometimes that using eyeshadow powders for this, eyeshadow powders aren't designed to like set what's underneath, so they sometimes can be less drying than an actual setting powder. And they have pigment because, you know, it's an eyeshadow. I'm going to use my Shiseido eyebrow pencil. This was one of the first ones I discovered after I stopped using Brow Wiz that I really liked. I then discovered Brow Balance, and I have been really liking that ever since, but I will say you can find this on places like eBay and Amazon for like $6 to $8, and you can also find this on Yummy Buy for like $3.50. I think this is one of the cheapest, best options out there if you have natural black hair and natural black brows. And you know, I already have all of the health problems I do, so between all the stress and stuff like that, I have been dealing with ongoing flare-ups and just having a lot more bad days than good days, which has been really frustrating. And if I do flare up, and it can sometimes be really hard to climb out of that hole, especially because if I start getting really dehydrated and my GI acts up and I start having issues absorbing any more fluids, water, salt, etc. Once I start having issues with that, then it gets really tricky to, you know, get myself out of that. So I finally had to go and actually get an IV infusion to get better. Once I got it, I started feeling better literally within hours. I usually have really easy veins. Like, I have probably one of the easiest veins ever to poke. but because I was so dehydrated, my right arm veins were pretty much impossible to get, which is so unusual. The last time I was that difficult was when I had appendicitis. So after that I felt a lot better, so I am feeling a lot better these days. But if I go too hard, if I get over enthusiastic about cleaning one day and I clean too much, the next day I'll like wake up and it'll be like my joints will hurt, I'll feel exhausted, I'll be dizzy, my heart rate will be out of control, and I'm on beta blockers now to try and control that, but then as a side effect they lower my blood pressure, which already is low. So it's been really difficult trying to get a handle on my health while also having so much to do. So I did start getting some people who were like, oh, I know somebody with POTS, or I know somebody with problems related to like the big C and whatever, and this is the doctor that they see, you should try reaching out to them. So my mom, my amazing mother, had been calling every single contact that I was given. My mom would call and ask about appointments, and every single time she called, the appointment would be like 2025. My earliest one was like end of December 2024. So it was like, okay, so what's the point of seeking professional help if brow flick, if you can't even access it? But yeah, so the biggest update for me this year, I'm gonna use my boy brow because I feel like my eyebrows in the front look kind of janky. So the biggest update for me this year is that yes, I am finally going to be hopefully getting some answers and some treatment, but to do that I'm going to have to go all the way to Johns Hopkins. I do request that you please respect my privacy and not ask me too many questions about it. I will talk about it when I'm ready. So I do not know where I put any of my eye primers. I tried to find them and I can't find any of them, so I've just been using this Jaclyn Cosmetics eye primer, which is better than nothing, but my Rare Beauty one, my NARS one, they've all just kind of poofed. I cleaned them and I put them away, and then I was trying to dig for them to find them and take them out again because I really needed them and I couldn't find them, and I was like, okay, well that is just awkward. I'm gonna go ahead and put on some contour to give my eye primer time to do whatever eye primer needs to do. I don't know. So I'm going to use my Flower Nose chocolate contour thing. I'm gonna be completely honest. I follow so many YouTubers who it feels like they do literally everything, like they have a full-time job, or they are a full-time parent, or they do YouTube full-time, and then they upload, you know, 4 to 6 videos a week. They do multiple eyeshadow palette looks all done within the same 24 hours, whereas I have to spread it across multiple days. And then on top of that, they have friends and family, or you know, they have kids and they have spouses who they see and interact with, and they do all of that, and plus, you know, maintaining their home and whatnot. Meanwhile, over here, I can barely even get up 1 video a week. I get really jealous sometimes, and it really truly boggles my mind where they're getting all that energy from. Like, I used to be so big into fitness, and I used to work out and lift weights and dance and everything, and I haven't been able to do that at all because of the wonderful thing called post-exercise malaise that I get now. Plus, I can't even be upright for very long anyways, as my tilt table test very much showed me. So it's just been really frustrating, because it's like I get to see all these other people, you know, be successful and enjoy their life and do lots of things they want to do, and I literally get to pick and choose what I get to do on a given day, and if I do too much, I get to pay for it by being stuck in bed for the next 3 days. Like, it's just really annoying. Plus, then of course you always get the age-old, oh, but you're too young to have problems, it can't be that bad. Which thankfully none of my doctors have done that, but like, you know, people in passing will do that. Like, I don't go to church anymore because you get that kind of stuff at church all the time. I feel like my camera's tilted and it's making my head look tilted. So yeah, it's just a really big bummer that that's just what my lot in life is right now. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, there's not really much I can do, I guess. I really want to keep doing more colorful looks for now, just to try and like challenge myself a little bit. However, I do have to say, trying to mentally be creative right now even is exhausting, which I know sounds really dumb, but like, you know, I was discussing with other people on Reddit about the fatigue, and like there were some people talking about, like, especially if you actually have chronic fatigue syndrome, which I don't, but I do, there is overlap. I was talking to some people who have it, and they were like, even just like for them, it was like even just mentally thinking of a picture would be enough to like make them be in pain and inflammation and exhaustion and get sick. And I was thinking to myself, it was like, I've not really been explaining it right for the past several videos. It's not that I don't feel like talking, which is why I did so many voiceovers. It was that I was literally didn't even have the energy to do my makeup and talk at the same time, and I wanted to relax and do my makeup, and thinking about talking while doing my makeup would have made me too tired. And so I think that's one of the reasons my looks have been just kind of really bland lately, is because I just don't even have the mental energy to try and think of something complicated right now, so if you'll excuse me. Anyways, I'm going to use this Mothership III. It doesn't say on the back, but I'm pretty sure it's Subversive. I kind of wanted to do something today that was like using a black base, I think. There's this one shade in here that's like black, so I'm gonna use this, I think. This shade feels kind of dry. I hope it didn't expire or something, we'll see. It's just a really big bummer, especially because, like, you know, my makeup backlog, it grows. Like, honestly, I could clown on myself forever for still continuing to buy new stuff when I totally don't already have so much stuff I want to film. It's just like, I guess part of me is still kind of in denial about my actual capabilities. Like, it's like I'm buying and acting like I can still use things because I just don't want to have to admit that I'm like worse off than other people. Like, I just don't want to have to admit that like I can't do things. But the fact of the matter, like, it's like rationally speaking, I know I can't, but then I just hate it, and so I just refuse to acknowledge it. So I just keep trying to pretend like there's nothing wrong. And then of course I will run myself into a hole and then cause myself to crash. So, I mean, what can I say? I just don't want to have to like accept that there's something wrong. So I'm trying to stamp this on without causing much trouble, but you can see it's kind of dry and crumbly on my finger. I can't remember if it came like that though. You can see the crumbles on my eyelids. I can't remember if it came like that or if this shade or if this palette might be a little bit old. I didn't actually get this that long ago though. I think I got it maybe like 2 years ago. So I'm just using my finger because it's easier. And you can see with the finger I'm able to still blend it out pretty nicely, so no complaints there. There is a black in the first 3 motherships from Pat McGrath all do have blacks in them, so I'm just going to use the black in here. I actually do really like the Mothership black formula. So you can see that definitely made a huge difference. I'm not too concerned about the blending yet though, just because like there are going to be other shimmers going on top of this. For the lower lash line, I will go and pull for like a not quite black, because black on my lower lash line can sometimes get like really bad really fast. I'm gonna use the shade Star Apple. This is actually from the Tina TheFancyFace and ODENS EYE collab. ODENS EYE used to make such amazing shadows. Okay, so I don't think ODENS EYE quality has gone down. I think what happened is their quality control has completely just gone off the rails. I don't necessarily think that they are making their products any worse now. I think it's that they just do not bother to actually make sure that each product is consistent with their other products. Like, I've seen this happen with other brands, makeup and non-makeup, where they grow really, really quickly and the quality doesn't suffer, but the quality control sure does. And I think that's what happened. Because within my Perfect World collab, each palette, the 3 of them, I feel like they each perform wildly different from each other, and it was just so insane. I could not believe it. So I'm going to use that shade, and then I'm going to go ahead and use that to blend everything else out too. And I'm going to be using some brushes that are not technically fully clean, but I used lighter shades, so hopefully they don't look too terribly contaminated using these dark shades. So I'm just gonna use this same shade, tap out the black. Like, I still do want to buy from ODENS EYE, but I don't know, it's something about their quality has become very, very inconsistent. Like, I feel like I can't trust it anymore, versus look at how effortless and quick I was able to create that blend. And this is not a young palette by any means. This is an older release now, and indie shadow life cycles can sometimes not be as good as luxury brand shadows. Like, some of like my oldest Unearthly Cosmetics palettes, for instance. Some of the shimmers in them are just virtually unusable now. I don't know what happened to them, but they really need to get their quality control under control, for lack of a better word. So I've seen a lot of conspiracy theories about ODENS EYE floating around lately, and I don't think their PR is different from what they sell, but I do think their quality control is not consistent, so it wouldn't surprise me if their PR batches have better quality control as opposed to a different formula. So I really hope that they can get that figured out. I still remember when they were going to add me to their PR list and then they never did. Probably because right after they asked for my address, I made a video criticizing them. Yeah, see, I don't know why they can't just make stuff like this again. I really wanted to use this shade right here. I just was feeling it. Yeah, it's so pretty. So I'm going to use this, and it actually goes really well with the eggplant shade that I used, so that was kind of unintentional but good timing. So I'm going to use this on top of this dark base. See, I'm trying to use these kinds of shades in a way. I'm trying to make these darker looks, but I always feel like I accidentally make them muddy. I thought this would work, but it turns out this shade has a little bit of a darker base to it too. I don't know. Or maybe I should have used this over a matte black. Well, this was a good experiment either way. I just wanted to do something that was fun. I know a lot of people I follow, the way that they are able to figure out their color combinations is that they will do a lot of hand swatches of different color schemes before actually putting anything on their face. Okay, on top of the purple, it looks really nice. Well, I don't dislike it. It looks quite nice. Okay, so those were the shades from Subversive that I like really wanted to use. So I do want to find some shades to use on the inner corner and then maybe like a topper to go across everything, because like I just want to do sparkly everything. So let me think. I think I'm going to go into this Sugar Drizzle polish palette. This is the Sugar Dreams palette. I'm gonna go into this shade here, and maybe I'll go into this shade up here. I'm not sure. I haven't really seen anybody talking about this brand. They haven't really released anything either. I hope they're doing okay. I do really like this palette in particular. This is one of my favorite ones from them. The other one I like from them is the Pizza Cat palette, just because it has a pizza cat on it. Indie brands really do tend to pop in and out very quickly. Oh yeah, that works really well. I think I may use Yum Yum across the top of everything just because I feel like it. I remember there being one shade in this palette that was a little bit chunkier. I wonder if that was Yum Yum. It looks like it was. If that's the case, then I think that'll be my topper of choice, because I remember there was one shade in this palette I used across my whole eyelid and I was like, oh, that felt kind of thick. I didn't like it. Yeah, I'm gonna take Yum Yum across the top. I will admit, I am kind of glad to see that indie brands finally stop all doing the same identical squishy, oily shimmer palettes, because I honestly didn't really like those because of the fact that they didn't wear super well, and lifespan wise, I felt like they would dry out really quickly and then they would become unusable. And if you're paying that much, you know, you want to make sure that you get some shelf life out of them. I know some people have a conspiracy theory where after Adept sold their formula, everybody hopped on and used it. But anyways, I am glad to see that brands are finally kind of like, okay, let's all stop doing the exact same thing now, because now I'm finally way more interested in things again, because for a while all shimmer palettes were definitely all the rage, and while they're pretty to look at and pretty to swatch, longevity wise I had concerns. So that is what my look is looking like so far. Really pretty. I do think the black is a little bit choppy and I need to do a better job of working with that. Okay, yeah, that was it. I'm not gonna overdo that. And then I do think just a little bit of darkness on the lower lash line will help, but I don't want to screw everything up. So I'm going to use a black eyeliner. I'm just gonna use Mildly Black from 3CE. I'm just going to use this right here. I can hardly keep up with myself these days, and like every day I'm so slow. Like I'll be cleaning something and I literally feel like I can't make my muscles move any faster than I want to. Like I feel like I am just moving through molasses every single day. Like, I literally move so slow and I think so slow. I constantly misplace things. I'm constantly dropping things. Like, it is just so exhausting and so embarrassing. Just gonna like kind of diffuse out the bottom a little bit. Like, I feel so dumb and I feel so clumsy. I feel so slow. I've been pulling out a lot of my palettes from the shelves because I need to go through and clean them all. So because of that, I'm like, you know, rediscovering all the eyeshadow palettes I've completely neglected. So I just want something, an extra dab on my lower lash line. And I used to love using this shade back in the day to create a pressed glitter effect without using actual pressed glitter. There we go. That's the nice finishing touch that I needed. I have to like wash all of my brushes too, which is why you see the pile of brushes back there. Those are all brushes I have to wash too. I have to wash all the cat hair out of them, which I'm pretty sure there's nothing wrong with them because I never got ringworm on my face, but you know. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put on my false lashes and mascara off camera, and then I'll be back to finish this look. Okay, so I put on some false lashes, I put on some mascara. I did also put on some false lashes like on I did put some mascara on the false lashes because these are going to be a pair that I'm going to toss after this. I have used them. They've gotten their mileage. I also did go ahead and put the inner corner liner on. So that is what the makeup look is looking like right now. Really, really pretty. I do really like it. So for blush, I've kind of just been like using whatever I can find like to repurpose as blush because I cleaned almost all of my blushes and then I put them away, which is kind of dumb. I shouldn't have done that, but yeah, so my access to blushes right now is highly limited, so I'm just going to be kind of using whatever I can get my hands on. So I'm going to go ahead and use this cream blush from the NATASHA DENONA Love Face palette right here. I think this will match. It's kind of a cooler pink, almost with like a little berry lean to it. We'll see if it's still good. I know sometimes these have been known to get really dry. Haven't put any powder on except for under my eyes. Anyways, I did say I was going to talk a little bit about my channel for this year, but now that I think about it, I don't actually think I have anything terribly interesting to say. I think my channel is just going to be more of the same, honestly. I had managed to go up to 2 uploads a week for a while, and then of course that all came crashing down, so it'll probably continue to be 1 to 2 uploads a week for the entirety of this year, honestly. I will try my best to I'm either going to figure out how to bring my filming setup and some makeup with me to Virginia when I'm at Johns Hopkins, or I'm going to see if I can manage to pre-film a lot and then just have a lot to edit while I'm up there. We'll see. I'm really not sure yet. Until then, I will just try and keep filming and editing when I can. I'm gonna continue to try and get videos up every Tuesday as usual, and hopefully I don't miss too much more. Yeah, I truthfully, I don't really know what's in store for me. I don't know how I'm gonna be doing. I feel like it's like every day it's like you flip a coin and see if you're doing bad or if you're doing okay. But yeah, we'll see. I do, makeup wise, I do want to continue to have fun with my indie brands, but I'll be honest, there have been enough controversies and enough issues with customer service, lack of transparency, lying, AI art theft, all kinds of problems that I am going to probably be a little bit more selective about which indie brands I choose to focus on. I'm gonna use Star Glow from the face palette right here. Again, I also cleaned all of my highlighters. This is a very, very pretty highlighter though, no complaints. So I'm going to continue to be a little bit more mindful about the indie brands I choose to consume from. I will continue to not support indie brands that I feel like I don't really want to support. I have to continue to be a little bit careful about what I buy anyways. My makeup budget is still not super big like it used to be, so but we'll see. I do really this year want to focus a lot more on trying more Chinese and Korean makeup products. One of my cousins did help me buy some stuff off Taobao, but she's been having issues with shipping it to me. So she literally got me this stuff probably as far back as last September, but then between holidays and post office weirdness, it kept getting sent back to her. There are a lot of new luxury foundations that also have been teased or released lately that I've been really interested in. So I know Armani is doing a new designer lift one that definitely caught my eye. The undertones on that seem so nice. Louboutin teased one. About Face just posted teasers for one today. I really wanted to try Shroud Cosmetics, but I feel like they just vanished. Like, I really want the Peaches and Dreams palette, and I really wanted Dark Academia. They said more details to come and then they just never posted again. Like, I'm actually concerned, and I'm not the only one, so hopefully they're doing okay. I look absolutely ridiculous with only lip liner on, so let me grab a lip and put that on. I'm going to use a Dewyful water tint because my lips have been crazy dry, so I'm gonna use Berry Divine. I also have so much dead skin, so it's making it look a little bit uneven. My lips are not in good shape. I will have days where I don't even have the energy to do skincare, and so my skin's been really suffering, which, you know, I know it's my fault, but it's so frustrating, and like, I don't know how to explain to people who refuse to understand. They're like, well, why can't you just do X? And it's like, I literally don't have the energy for it, but like, how can you explain it to people who refuse to understand? Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and call this my finished makeup look. I technically need to head to work like right now, so I'm gonna wrap this up really quickly. But here is what everything looks like. I do think it all looks super pretty. I think I was able to do a pretty good job with what I wanted to do, so it wasn't too terribly complicated, but I was able to use some shades and colors I haven't used in a while. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I did not put on any setting powder, but I think I'm just going to not, because my skin is very dry and I honestly don't need it. So that's kind of just my random rambly 2024 update. I wish I had more to share, but honestly, I genuinely don't know how this year is gonna go. Like, so I really just, that's all I'm really gonna say. So thank you guys so much for being so understanding and patient with me as always. I hope you guys understand. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until then, please do take care. Let me know if you have any questions, video requests, whatever in the comments. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.